On May 27, 2026, just days ago, Russia signed a military deal with the Afghan Taliban and agreed to supply them with anti-aircraft missiles. The same Taliban that Pakistan was literally at war with in February of this year. The same Taliban whose territory Pakistan Air Force struck with Operation Ghazab Lil Haq just 4 months ago. And here's what makes it worse. Within days of signing that deal, Taliban Defense Minister Yaqub gave the agreement a harder edge, publicly suggesting that Afghanistan was now working to ensure Pakistan could not strike Afghan territory from the air again. That is not a diplomatic statement. That is a direct threat aimed at Pakistan Air Force. And Pakistan's official response sought to project calm, arguing the deal is limited in scope and will not fundamentally change the regional balance of power. Pakistan is pretending this is fine, and it is absolutely not fine. Here is why. Section 1. What Russia actually signed. Let us be precise about what happened in Moscow on May 27th, because the details matter enormously. Russian Security Council Secretary Sergei Shoigu sat down with Taliban Defense Minister Mullah Mohammad Yaqub Mujahid, the son of Taliban founder Mullah Omar himself, and signed a military technical cooperation agreement whose specific terms were not made public. But the framework reportedly covers air defense equipment, including MANPADS, ground hardware, training, and maintenance support. But here is something that most coverage missed completely. According to regional intelligence reports, Russia had already been providing small arms, heavy machine guns, ammunition, and anti-drone systems to the Taliban through discrete routes since 2022, with UN panel of experts reports on Taliban sanctions repeatedly identifying Russian origin materials flowing into Afghanistan. So this military deal on May 27th is not the beginning of Russia-Taliban cooperation. It is the formalization of something that was already quietly happening. The public signing ceremony is Moscow saying, "We are done hiding this. We are doing it openly now." Russia formally recognized the Taliban government in July 2025, becoming the first major power to do so, and subsequently removed the movement from its list of proscribed terrorist organizations. Recognition, removal from terror lists, arms transfers, informal military agreement, MANPADS delivery, each step deliberate, each step building on the last, and all of it pointing in one direction. That is bad news for Pakistan. Section 2. Why MANPADS in Taliban hands is different. Now let us talk about why MANPADS specifically are so dangerous in this context, because not all weapons create the same threat. MANPADS are shoulder-fired surface-to-air missiles, lightweight, portable, requiring minimal training, designed specifically to kill low-flying aircraft. Pakistan Air Force jets flying strike missions along the Afghan border fly at exactly the altitude profiles these weapons are designed to engage. The most consequential dimension of this deal may not even be the direct threat to PAF jets. Two risks loom larger: the proliferation of MANPADS across an already volatile region, and what the agreement reveals about a decade of Pakistani policy toward Moscow. That proliferation point is critical. MANPADS do not stay where governments put them. They move, get traded, they get passed to non-state actors. And Pakistan knows better than almost any country on earth what happens when advanced weapons flow freely across the Afghan border. Because Pakistan lived through the Stinger missile era in the 1980s and spent decades dealing with the consequences. The TTP operates from Afghan territory. The TTP and Afghan Taliban share ideology, personnel, and safe havens. A modern Russian MANPADS that arrives in Kabul today could be in TTP hands in Waziristan tomorrow. And that is a direct threat not just to PAF aircraft, but to Pakistan Army Aviation's brand new Z-10ME helicopter fleet that was just inducted months ago. Section 3, the RD-93. Russia never actually helped Pakistan. And now we come to the argument that always comes up when anyone suggests Pakistan should reconsider its relationship with Russia: the JF-17 engine argument. The argument is simple. Pakistan's JF-17, Thunder, the backbone of PAF with around 150 Block 1 and Block 2 aircraft in service, uses the Russian RD-93 engine. So Pakistan needs to keep Russia happy, or the JF-17 fleet suffers. It sounds logical. But here is the reality, and it is the opposite of what most people assume. When Pakistan was setting up its JF-17 program and needed to acquire those engines at scale, it was immediately clear that 150-plus engines cannot be operated sustainably without a local MRO facility, maintenance, repair, and overhaul, where engines are serviced, overhauled, and where spare parts are manufactured domestically. Without that, every engine repair means shipping it back to Russia, paying Russian rates, waiting for Russian timelines, and giving Russia a permanent veto over your most important fighter aircraft. So Pakistan went to Russia and asked for the MRO facility alongside the engine, and Russia said no. They would sell the engines but refused to transfer the MRO capability to Pakistan, wanting to keep both the technology secret and keep Pakistan permanently dependent on Russian services. This was Russia deliberately using Pakistan's most critical military program as a leverage tool. Pakistan's Air Force found itself in a genuinely dangerous position, and Russia was the one who put it there. Section 4. Who actually saved the JF-17 and why it matters now? Here's the part nobody talks about. Pakistan did not solve this problem with Russia. It solved it around Russia, and the two countries that stepped up were China and Ukraine. China, with its deep experience of Russian jet engine technology from decades of licensed production, supplied the equipment and tooling Pakistan needed to build its own RD-93 MRO facility. Ukraine, which had operated and maintained Soviet-era engines, including the closely related RD-33 family for decades, provided the critical technical expertise that made the whole facility actually function. The result is that Pakistan's JF-17 fleet has maintained exceptional availability for 15 years. Engines overhauled locally, spare parts manufactured in Pakistan, with Russia having essentially zero leverage over any of it. Because the supply chain runs through China now, not Russia. And Russia cannot play games with China the same way it tried to play games with Pakistan, because China is the country keeping Russia's own economy alive under Western sanctions. So when someone tells you Pakistan must stay close to Russia because of the JF-17 engine, you now know the truth. Russia tried to use that engine as a weapon against Pakistan. Pakistan removed that weapon from Russia's hands, and the countries that actually were China, Mom, and Ukraine. So here's the full picture in 2026. Russia signed a military deal with the Taliban, the same Taliban Pakistan was at war with in February. Taliban Defense Minister Yaqub publicly threatened that Pakistan will not be able to strike Afghan territory from the air again. Russian MANPADS are heading to a government with direct links to TTIM and the ceasefire along the Afghan border is already breaking down. Meanwhile, Pakistan's official position is that this is all fine and limited in scope. It is not fine, and Pakistan's defense community knows it. The real threat here is not just to PAF fighter jets, it is proliferation across a volatile region, and what this deal exposes about a decade of Pakistan misjudging Russia. Russia recognized the Taliban before anyone else. Russia removed them from terror lists. Russia signed a military deal with them. Russia is now supplying them with air defense systems specifically described by their own defense minister as tools to stop Pakistan from striking Afghan territory. At every step of that process, Russia made a deliberate choice, and at every step, that choice was against Pakistan's interests. The question is not whether Pakistan should reconsider its Russia policy. The question is why it took this long, and whether Islamabad will finally read the signal that Moscow has been sending for years.